Welcome to Product Academy Tough Stuff, the podcast where we cut through the noise and get straight to the toughest challenges in product management. I'm Tanya Leue.
And I'm Francesca Cortesi.
In each episode, we tackle one tough question. No fluff, no filler. Just candid insights from seasoned product leaders.
Our guests deliver actionable, real-world answers. Whether you're an experienced product leader or just stepping into the product world, this is your go-to podcast for sharp, tested advice, condensed for your busy schedule.
One tough challenge, practical insights, short and real.
Let's dive in.
Happy New Year!
Yay!
So I was saying to Stephanie that the countdown of this recording always makes me nervous, but I don't know if it makes me as nervous or as happy maybe as the topic that we're gonna discuss. Today, tough question is about one topic you really cannot not talk about nowadays, which is AI. But what I want to hear Stephanie's opinion on is how shall we think as a PM on AI? Because it's obviously a new technology, so there's the skill set around it, but there's also the emotional set. Will I still have a job in 2 years or maybe sooner? So what's your take on it, Stephanie?
Yeah, I think we need to distinguish two things when talking about AI. AI can, on the one hand, bring internal efficiency gains. So that is one use case for AI. And I feel like many companies are currently really looking into internal efficiency gains rather than developing or evolving their business. And then there's obviously also companies that just use AI to enhance their business model or to build new business models based on AI. I'm not an expert in either, right? But I'm currently working with a bunch of companies that either use AI to build new products, but I'm also involved into internal efficiency gain topics. And one of the topics that I'm mostly interested in is how can AI make our lives easier? And we spoke about it, and I posted about it on LinkedIn, that I'm wondering, like, how do PMs use AI in today's world? And I see that there are teams that are much more sophisticated when it comes to using AI than we are in product, at least from my perception. If you look into customer support functions, for example, I feel like that is a function that is heavily affected by AI efficiency gains. If it comes to tools that offer chatbots replacing first customer support level through AI, obviously that is a heavily impacted environment. But if I look into all the tasks that as a PM we can potentially automate, I feel like we're just not doing it. And I wonder why. Is it because we're lacking tools? Is it because we don't want to make ourselves redundant? Is it because we have so many things on our plate that we just don't want to deep dive into it because it just adds more topics to our already packed agenda? And I'm not yet sure, to be honest.
But that's really interesting. Like you pointed at one group, which is like, I believe, the most affected by AI, because the efficiency track is the one that everyone is looking into. Everything from code review and maybe like a little bit of engineering, also like started to feel, okay, am I going to be redundant at some point? But I mean, a lot of customer service representatives are already been made redundant. And there, I guess, like to your question, it's like, do you embrace it or do you block it? Like when you work with a lot of different PMs and on different angles, what do you think is the mindset of the ones that succeed with it, and what is the ones that do not succeed with it?
So one thing that I'm concerned about is obviously, like, am I going to make myself redundant if I'm going to use more AI in order to make my job more efficient? But on the other hand, I work with so many PMs and all of them are stretched thin to the max. And being stretched thin to the max means that they usually spend a lot of time on things that are just not really fun, right? Like writing user stories is not fun. Attending trillions of meetings is not fun. Writing the thousandth update to a stakeholder in the new channel or in a different channel or via email or Slack, that's not fun, right? And at the same time, this keeps us so busy that we're not working on the things that really matter, which is talking to customers, which is working on strategy, which is observing competition. And I think that especially for PMs, you can't compare our situation to the situation of customer support representatives, because that's a different thing, right? Like answering emails, especially if it's like simple emails that repeat themselves. That's not a surprise that this is going to be replaced somehow. But as a PM, I wonder that what would happen if we just make these tasks taken over by AI, while we as PMs focus on the things that really help us building better products faster. And so there's a big opportunity for us. I just haven't seen anyone approaching it super diligent, nor have I seen any tools supporting it end to end right now.
What will be a tool that could support this end to end? What are you envisioning?
It's not about the tool in the end. It's about the question of where is the majority of my work happening. And I think the majority of a product manager's work is happening in the tool where we are writing the stories, and whether it's like a Jira or like whatever tool. Jira obviously is the most common one. A tool that helps me to connect to that one and helps me to understand what is my strategy, what are my goals, my OKRs, my objectives for the next week, my sprint goals, what are the stakeholders, the meetings, and really helps me to connect dots and to make sure that I'm updating the right people at the right time with the right amount of information. I think this should be doable because we're documenting so much in so many different sources that if there's anything connecting these dots, our life would be much easier.
Yeah, and I mean, just to go back to what you said, I have a bit of a strong opinion on AI, and I'm not an expert myself, but I believe that if your job as a PM, or you consider your job as PM as writing user story or putting a priority on a list, yeah, those tasks will probably be really obsolete really soon. But that's not what a PM does in my world. And a lot of PM work is about collaboration, and it's about human relationship, and it's about connecting with users. And that is not so easy to be taken over by an AI. So I'm really also seeing this bright future where more people get more time to do the fun and hard stuff. Because I mean, those conversations with those difficult stakeholders, or like having a talk on, okay, what is actually going to move the needle? It's not so easy to input things in an AI. Otherwise, we're going to just have those total addressable markets discussion, but that's not really the reality.
Absolutely.
What's your take on it?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think potentially AI has an opportunity for us to get rid of this framework discussion, because that's like we're using frameworks in order to get some kind of clarity and structure into our thinking and thoughtful processes, right? That's like 60-70% of what AI can help us with. But that also means that if you want to go one level deeper, if you really want to understand your business model, your customer pain points, your potential strategy, your hard to copy features, these are things where AI can inspire some ideas, but it will never go beyond a certain level. And that at the same time means that there's a lot of thought work that is required on our end, because otherwise, if we would just trust AI, it would also means that all products become more and more similar, because AI is not creating 10 different approaches for the same tool, right? That's where we come into the game to make sure, like, yeah, there's still a competitive advantage because we understand how to position ourselves in a different manner.
That's just want to touch on what you said, because the tooling or the platform or the AI or the GPTs of this world are available to everyone. So what becomes your true differentiator, both as a product and as a product person? That I think is going to be the key of mastering AI, because the tool, maybe there's going to be more tooling, but I'm guessing they're going to be easier and easier to use. But how then you take the output of the tool and make it unique?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure if you've seen it, but yesterday on LinkedIn, there was like this spicy take of, here's a prompt, use it to figure out how AI sees your strength. Actually, have you seen that one?
I haven't, no.
One person started sharing that on LinkedIn, and then 20,000 other people did exactly the same prompt, and they all shared their results. And it was funny because it was as if you're reading a horoscope, right? Like what AI was generating was actually just something that also was fitting to everyone else, actually, right? So there was no big difference in the results that were produced. And that would be my biggest concern, that actually if everyone fully relies on AI and no one is doing the thought work any longer, the prompting, the fine tuning, the thinking beyond what AI is generating, then we're not going to develop distinct solutions, but we're just all developing exactly the same things. And then the whole world becomes a little bit boring and no one is really solving new user needs any longer.
And how can we avoid that?
Strategic thinking. I think that that's the biggest advantage, right? Like questioning things is the one skill that will distinguish us from machines, hopefully, also for the rest of our lives, because that's something where I believe it is hard to copy.
Right. So use the AI to take away the boring stuff, focus more on the good stuff for the strategy, and make sure to apply a strategic thinking on them to make them hard to copy.
Exactly. Yeah, use it as if it's a consultancy. As if it's a McKinsey, right? Like if McKinsey is going to create you 500 slides, they might look good and well thought through and super polished, but then you're trying to kind of use them and really implement it into your daily doing. And you figure out like, oh, that's super hard because what reads good on paper is not really working in reality. And then you start tweaking all of the consulting things you heard from others. And I think AI is nothing else. It's kind of a consultant function to help us enhance our thought process, but it's not going to replace it.
And do you have like more on the tooling part? You mentioned there is no tool that take away the end-to-end boring stuff, but what are your favorite tooling for AI right now?
I'm not using too many tools when it comes to AI right now because most of them are quite challenging when it comes to legal risk compliance topics.
Data.
Right. So I'm super cautious when it comes to using whatever tools AI, as long as I not fully understand how they use my data, especially in a business environment. I think this is super risky. So that is the key reason to just use tools that are really also approved by my company.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest and maybe most not thought about thing, that it's so easy to input everything in those chats. And then they are used, unless you use the paid version, but even there, it's, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit like too skeptical, but I'm a bit skeptical as well. Like, what are they going to use this data for?
Exactly. Yeah, you also don't know which models they use, which basics they use. Is it like an existing model? Is it a ChatGPT? What is it, right? Like what is going to happen with my data? And it's also not super transparent. And hence it's a little bit challenging to use the data with a good feeling.
You mentioned that you work with a lot of different PMs and companies that use AI for efficiency mainly, and a good real world case.
Yeah, I think there is a bunch of things. Like, obviously, I'm in the media space. So, creating content in the media space or summarizing content or inspire new content pieces is something where AI does a brilliant job. Obviously, distributing content is also something that AI can help with. Or turning certain content into different formats is definitely a super interesting space as well. So everything that it has to do with generative AI, from my perspective, is a super interesting use case because today content rules. Obviously, that's not new.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge that I see is that user-generated content is much more trusted than AI-generated content. So we need to keep that in mind. So it's nice to create 1,000 content pieces for your blog just to increase your SEO rating, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, Google will still ignore you if your content is not also high quality. And here again, like, yes, all the Gen AI models can help create more content in different formats, but they can barely help you to create high quality.
One of my favorite is back on the PM and how can you save time, the transcription of meetings, where they just transcript meeting and they do a short summary. I normally used to do that, like at the end of every meeting, especially, this is what we discussed, this is the decision we have taken. Can I get a thumb up so everyone is on it? And that is basically, instead of being maybe 1 hour after each meeting, is 5 minutes. So that has been like my favorite application. And then you always use ChatGPT. That's my favorite LLM to check the tone, because I work in my second and third language, and all the written communication, I never know how is that going to be perceived. Then I asked my friend Chat, as you were saying, as the advisor, how do I sound? And sometimes it's like, oh, this is a bit harsh. It's like, okay, can you help me? Can you help me? And that's not my intent. Can you help me making it a little bit softer?
Yeah, I agree. I do similar things. My most used prompt is potentially polish this. So I write like a LinkedIn post, really very thoughtful. And then I'm like, yeah, but is it good enough? And then I just ask ChatGPT to polish it. And then I take it and then I repolish it because often it doesn't sound like me any longer.
Yeah.
But still it helps me, right? So I think that's definitely also one of my still most preferred sources.
Yeah, and I mean, back to what is important in the PM job, communication. Written is becoming more and more important. So there you can also save some time, but apply, as you said, not just copy and paste, write me a LinkedIn post, but going back and forth with your own thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is super important also when you're not a native speaker like you and I. I'm not a native speaker, but if I'm going to write an update to stakeholder, and I can ask an LLM to polish my written update, then it sounds smarter and it boosts my confidence. Obviously, that is also good for my own perception and for how I communicate with others.
For sure. Do you have any one-liner if we have to answer the tough question? How do I manage AI as a PM? What's your one-liner?
Treat it like a coach, not like a coworker.
Good one. Treat it like a coach, not like a coworker. And think.
Yeah.
Always good. Think in between.
Sometimes,
exactly. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing your wisdom with us.
Yeah, thanks for your questions. That was super interesting.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Product Academy Tough Stuff.
We hope today's tough question gave you practical, actionable insights.
If you enjoyed the episode, do us a favor and leave a rating or review. It will help us grow the podcast and make future episodes even better.
Got a question for us? Send an email to toughstuff@productacademy.ch and ask away. We read any submission and might answer yours in a later episode.
Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time with another tough challenge to tackle.
Until then, take care.